How to buy Hong Kong and US stocks with M+ Global. First, you have to open an online trading account. It only takes 5 minutes to complete. Make sure to prepare your IC, bank account statement, and relevant documents. Launch the M+ Global app and enter your email or mobile number to register. Proceed to log in and choose Open Account. Select Market, Account Type, and fill in the required information. Then proceed to face verification and input your signature. Once that is done, your account registration is successful. Now, it is time to deposit funds into your account to start purchasing shares. With M+ Global, there is no need to exchange your cash deposits for foreign currency, and there is no transaction fees. Click Deposit and choose Online FPX to deposit quickly. It only takes 5 minutes to complete. Once the funds have been confirmed and submitted, the next page will indicate a successful deposit. If the transaction is indicated as under reviewing, kindly provide the additional details required. Once you have made your deposit, it's time to pick the stocks you would like to trade. Click Market and select the Hong Kong or US stock market. You can choose from over 10,000 stocks. Tap Sectors to view the best performing categories. Tap Top Stocks to filter stocks according to their percentage change in price. Tap Most Active to sort by volume and turnover. Found a stock you're interested in? Add it to your favorites immediately. You can also add to your watch list so you can check it anytime. Use the Edit function to add or delete your selected stocks. Create groups to organize your stocks via drag and drop function. Stay on top of the market with M+ Global's real-time market data. Now, it's time to start trading. You can search directly by the stock name or code. Choose whether to sell or buy, click Order Type and select Market to buy or sell at current market price, or select Limit to choose your price. Enter the share quantity and other information, then submit the order. How to check if your order has been executed? Just click on Trade Orders to check. If you want to modify the transaction price, just click on today's order to change it. Congratulations! You are now the proud owner of your first Hong Kong or US stock. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
M+ Global, winning the world.
The electric vehicle industry is now the talk of the town. Start trading EV stocks now with M+ Global. Driving an EV is no longer an unattainable dream, and in the future, the EV industry will be one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Many EV brands have also started to appear in Malaysia. Brands such as BYD, BMW, and Tesla have all entered the Malaysian market.
Electric vehicles are not just vehicles. They have the ability to shape the lives of all Malaysians. With smart mobile living spaces and autonomous and comfortable driving experiences, this technological revolution will bring immense potential to the Malaysian market.
Driven by policies and growing demand, the EV market has plenty of potential. So how do you, as a Malaysian investor, seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in EV stocks? Let's use the US stock Tesla as an example. First, enter the stock code TSLA or the stock name Tesla. Once you enter the stock details page, you will be able to see the live stock price. You can also view basic stock information such as market capitalization and technical trends. You can customize the time range for the share price movements from 1 day to 5 years, and even from the company's listing date up until now. From this chart, you can see that Tesla's share price has continued to rise from $21.80 to $182 per share over the past 5 years. It has risen more than 7 times during this period, far outperforming the broad market average. There is a wide range of stock analysis tools available to help you make a more comprehensive analysis, such as capital flows, the latest updates, and various fundamental indicators. This includes ROE, earnings performance, net profit margin, assets and liabilities data, and cash flow, and more to help you stay up to date with the latest company news. If you want to trade a stock, click Trade and enter the number of shares. Then click Buy or Sell to place your order. An order has been submitted message will be displayed once the order has been placed. When the order is matched, the transaction is now complete. With M Plus Global, you can trade a variety of EV stocks in the US and Hong Kong stock markets, as well as diversified investment vehicles such as ETFs to help you better allocate your investments. There is also an information section. Click on Top News to stay informed with the latest investment trends at all times. Identifying investment opportunities is just the first step, but choosing a good trading platform is winning half the battle. Open an account with M Plus Global today and take control of all your global investments right at your fingertips.
To see more videos from M Plus Global, subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
M Plus Global, winning the world.
Been following us all week. We've been sharing tips on your questions about the M Plus Global app, right? We've been sharing tips about M Plus Global app. You've been giving us your responses, your feedbacks, your comments, and throughout the week also, I hope that we've been able to also provide you a very immersive and very interactive experience throughout the week, and we've answered some of your questions and helped you actually to understand trading a lot better. So today we have our very special guest here with us today, right? His name, he's our head of research as well as our local TikTok star, right? So for those of you who've been following our social media, especially if you're following our M Plus online TikTok, right? Our M Plus online TikTok, you would have seen our head of research just sharing tips on the market, sharing about what are some of the key points for you as investors to take note, and how you can improve also your investment journey along the way. So we have him here today, right? Really to share with us his market insights as well as his and to pick his brain on the US market and how is it doing. So for the next 30 minutes or so, we will be having him come here to just share a little bit more his expertise as well as his market insights on the US market as in general. So if any of you have any of your friends who are very interested in investing in the US market or investing in general, make sure invite them to come on to this session right now, because this is going to be a very informative, very educational session for all of you out there, right? And not only that, but you may gain a few tips and a few bits of information, right, that can help you in your journey as an investor, especially if you're going for the US market, right? So before I'll pass it off to our special guest Loui, right? So just to give you a rundown tonight, so after this session itself where he's sharing, right, after I pass it to him, he will share, right? And then after that, we'll have a Q&A session as well, right? So for those of you who want to ask any of your burning questions, any of the things that you might want to know about the market, right, make sure you invite all your friends as well as put all your comments into the comment box below, right? We appreciate any questions that you might have, and feel free to just type as many as you want, right? So after the session, Louis' session, there will be a Q&A. Don't worry. In the meantime, give us all your questions and make sure, right, to keep them coming. So right now, we will go on a just a short transition break, right? Maybe about 2 minutes or so as we prepare our next speaker, our special guest, Loui Low.
The electric vehicle industry is now the talk of the town. Start trading EV stocks now with M Plus Global. Driving an EV is no longer an unattainable dream. And in the future, the EV industry will be one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Many EV brands have also started to appear in Malaysia. Brands such as BYD, BMW, and Tesla have all entered the Malaysian market.
Electric vehicles are not just vehicles. They have the ability to shape the lives of all Malaysians. With smart mobile living spaces and autonomous and comfortable driving experiences, this technological revolution will bring immense potential to the Malaysian market.
Driven by policies and growing demand, the EV market has plenty of potential. So how do you, as a Malaysian investor, seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in EV stocks? Let's use the US stock Tesla as an example. First, enter the stock code TSLA or the stock name Tesla. Once you enter the stock details page, you will be able to see the live stock price. You can also view basic stock information such as market capitalization and technical trends. You can customize the time range for the share price movements from 1 day to 5 years, and even from the company's listing date up until now. From this chart, you can see that Tesla's share price has continued to rise from $21.80 to $182 per share over the past 5 years. It has risen more than 7 times during this period, far outperforming the broad market average. There is a wide range of stock analysis tools available to help you make a more comprehensive analysis, such as capital flows, the latest updates, and various fundamental indicators. This includes ROE, earnings performance, net profit margin, assets and liabilities data, and cash flow, and more to help you stay up to date with the latest company news. If you want to trade a stock, click Trade and enter the number of shares. Then click Buy or Sell to place your order. An order has been submitted message will be displayed once the order has been placed. When the order is matched, the transaction is now complete. With M Plus Global, you can trade a variety of EV stocks in the US and Hong Kong stock markets, as well as diversified investment vehicles such as ETFs to help you better allocate your investments. There is also an information section. Click on Top News to stay informed with the latest investment trends at all times. Identifying investment opportunities is just the first step, but choosing a good trading platform is winning half the battle. Open an account with M Plus Global today and take control of all your global investments right at your fingertips.
To see more videos from M Plus Global, subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
M Plus Global, winning the world.
All right, good evening everyone. So welcome to M Plus Global live stream. And today is Friday night. I know everyone is on happy hour, but we are here to provide you some insights about US stock markets. I think when we want to really invest in US stock markets, what are the things that we need to equip ourselves with? So I always relate our Bursa Malaysia's kind of trading ideas to US stock markets. Why do I say so? It's because it is more relatable to us in a way, and therefore we can use that kind of catalyst to trade US stock markets. So without going into in-depth today, but we are trying to give you some initial ideas about how we can use the indices, indices to understand about the stock markets. First of all, I think everyone would know that what is FBM KLCI, right? But do you know that on Wall Street itself, we have 3 major indices, and also on Hang Seng, Hong Kong Stock Exchange, we have Hang Seng Index, and also HS Tech. So basically, what I want to show you here in this slide is basically the year-to-date performance ranking of the indices. And I just want to showcase to you, I'm not saying that which one is better, but I just want to provide you an opportunity to trade in the US. By using these indices itself, you can already gauge that there is some opportunities there, and we have to take advantage of it. So firstly, we have to look into all these indices. Why is it important? Because when a stock indices is performing, it is showing that the constituent inside is also performing as well. So if you ask me about FBM KLCI, yes, they are good in terms of their valuations, in terms of their in Southeast Asia region, we are considered as one of the quite safety net for this Southeast Asia region. But what if we go up beyond this Southeast Asia region, where can we go? Where can we put our investment in? So if we look into this indices performance, you can see that the ranking is by, the first one is NASDAQ, second one is S&P 500, and followed by small cap index, Hang Seng Index, Dow Jones, and also HS Tech, Bursa Technology, and also FBM KLZ. So you can see most of them are in the US, and also Hong Kong is part of it as well. But you can also notice that FBM small cap is there. So FBM small cap is just part and parcel of what we are doing right now. But what if we can bring our investment journey into top 500 companies in the world, which is S&P 500? And what if we can bring it to all these, what if we can trade on all these NASDAQ stocks as well? That will be giving us an opportunity, and also very good opportunity to diversify out of this geographical region. So this year-to-date performance ranking shows that NASDAQ is actually on top. And recently we have known that all these ChatGPT and all these semiconductor or technology stocks in the US are actually making a very good run. So that is why you can see NASDAQ S&P 500 is part and parcel of the top ranking here. So if you want to have that kind of opportunity to gain about 16% on NASDAQ, or you want to gain some opportunities, some trading activities on S&P 500, that is about 7 to 8% gains. So what can you do is that you can actually look into our M+ Global app. We have this TQQQ or even SQQQ. So it depends on what are the directions that you are looking for. Those are the ETFs that you can actually trade and to gain advantage of those indices. Okay. So next we go into again, why do we want to put our money into other places, or where can we invest? So for those that that have 9 to 5 job, you only can look into the stock market maybe after 5, right? So you can do some research, or you can follow us on our Telegram. We will suggest to you some of the stock ideas. Basically, some of these ideas are great ideas because they are in the US. And if you are looking into US stocks, most likely you will know that a lot of tech companies or a lot of things that you're using right now is actually somewhat related to technology stocks in the US. But I think most importantly is that the average daily turnover for 3 months on the US dollar, in terms of US dollar in this chart itself, is showing you that there are multiple abundance of liquidity there. And if you notice, all these are actually coming in US dollars. So basically, if you total up all this 3-month average daily trading value, it comes up to be about 44.6 billion US dollar per day of trading. So as compared to Malaysia, we only have 2 million, of maybe towards the peak during the 2020 is about 5 to 6 billion average trading value per day. That is in RM terms. So what I want to say here is that there are more than what you can think of on the liquidity part, and we think that this is very important because the liquidity means that you can enter and exit easily. Okay. So on this recent note, we understand that there are several key events out there, such as the CPI and PPI index being published. And what are these information useful for? So if you look into trading activities, right, what I can think of is that you need to use some events, key events to drive your investment journey. So these are some of the past events, although it is already has already passed. But if we look into all these events, it gives us an opportunity to understand where can we put our money in. So if you look into a CPI year-on-year percentage, if we look into this data, what does it tell you? It is telling you that it is on the way down, first of all. And if CPI is going down, which means that maybe inflation pressure is going down, and the Federal Reserve may need not to increase the rate so much higher. So what I can say here is that the CPI can also be one of the catalysts out there for you to understand which direction you should be looking at. So if CPI is coming off and if you think that Federal Reserve will take a pause and will not increase the rate anymore, then perhaps you can actually look into the direction of the stock market to go higher. Okay, so I think that someone is saying that there is no sound. Okay, fine. Yeah. So CPI numbers can give you a sense of direction in terms of whether Federal Reserve will be able to increase or decrease or even have a rate cut in the future, and that will determine the stock market prices as well. So basically, if CPI numbers are down, generally speaking, the stock market should go up. Okay. So why I'm not so worried about the Federal Reserve, going into the increasing of rates is because if you look into CPI month on month, so which means that this is consumer price index in terms of the month on month view, we believe that these numbers are generally in the range of the historical range. Okay, so if you look into just these past 5 years, we can see that it is coming down back to near the 0% or slightly above that level. But overall, you can see that if you take note of the past since 1970 level, it is within this range. Okay, it is within this range. So it has not been excessively high in terms of the month-on-month growing numbers on consumer price index. So what I'm why am I showing you this is that although you can take note of that the year-on-year increase is still above the Federal Reserve inflation target, but if you look into the whole view of over the past 30 years, actually the month-on-month incremental value is not huge, and that is within a very safe range that we can see. The moment when you see that actually CPI numbers goes below negative, the zero level into negative territory, that is where we want to actually be cautious of actually, because when the CPI numbers goes into the negative territory, it might also mean that perhaps there could be some recessionary fears as well. So as long as it is within the range of negative 0.5 to positive 0.5 zone, I think that gives us a very good understanding that hey, the CPI numbers are holding well around that level. So the Federal Reserve might be not too hawkish going forward, and later stage maybe it might have a rate cut, but I don't think it will happen this year. But as long as it is not continuously hiking the interest rate, then it should be doing well for the stock market. So I think since last year we have seen a lot of increase in terms of the interest rate upcycle, mood environment. Right now it could be at a tipping point to turn lower from that point onwards. Okay, so overall, I would suggest that right now it might be on a very good range for accumulation, especially in the technology stocks. When you see the previous chart that I've shown you, the technology sector has actually risen quite a bit from year-to-date perspective is about 16% gain. Okay, so coming back to just now what I've mentioned here, the CPI numbers, these are some of the events out there has passed, and also Federal Reserve interest rate is very important as well. This is a consensus Federal Reserve interest rate idea that if you are looking into the next meeting, what sort of expectation is the consensus out there or the economists out there are thinking. So if you look into this, perhaps it is about 0.179%, so which means that it is not really 0.25%, but it is more towards people are looking at slightly lower than 0.5%. What does it mean is that some economists say that maybe this round they won't be increasing any interest rate. So that is the idea here. So if you look into another view of this, which means that they might be just stopping the rate around 5% right now, and then later on there is a number of economists out there to say that, hey, maybe the CPI numbers are going down and Federal Reserve might not be hiking, and going forward they might be lowering down the interest rate. So that is some of the ideas out there. But during this recent Federal Reserve meeting, actually they have mentioned a lot of times that we might be entering some of the contraction period in terms of the economic activities. So therefore, the tone again right now has changed again, because last round they say that they might not increase rate, and also they might not, they might take a pause on the rate hike. But right now, if they are looking into recessionary fears or recessionary concern, then it might be cutting rates. So the mood, the narrative right now has actually changed for the time being. So what I want to put out here is that CPI numbers has passed. The tone right now for the Federal Reserve is that maybe they will pause the interest rate, and the consensus is looking at a rate cut, and therefore there is a chance for the US stock market to go up higher from this point. Okay, so another view towards the interest rate upcycle. It is very interesting to take note of what CPI numbers can deal. How the Fed is going to deal with the CPI numbers, and also this view of the interest rate cycle is also very interesting, because if you notice, when they start to flatten, or they start to pause the rate hike, and also they start to decrease in terms of the interest rate environment, what happens next? Okay, so if you look into this during the dot-com bubble, is 2000, after they decrease the interest rate, what happened next? Yeah, so after they have decreased the interest rate during this 2007, what happened next, right? And during this cycle here, when they decrease the interest rate, what happens during 2020? And also this part here, although right now we are on a rising path, we have to take note on when they are going to reduce the interest rate also. So we have talked about the CPI numbers, we have talked about the Federal Reserve interest rate cycle. This is what I want to mention here. Perhaps the interest rate upcycle may come to an end, and also when the interest rate cycle is going downtrend, that is where we need to really take a very cautious mode on that particular period of time. So what are the indicators? What can you think of when you talk about a recessionary recession period? So first thing first, I think during 2020 we have technical recession. They call it technical recession in the US, is because during COVID period, a lot of things has closed down, and therefore we cannot go out. During MCO, we cannot go out, and therefore we have endured a painful economic contractionary period. So during that time, the quarterly growth rate of the economic activities, or GDP you call it, is in the negative region. So if we have consecutively 2 quarterly negative period of GDP growth, or GDP contraction period, therefore that is called a recession. But they can call it a technical recession because a lot of things might not be true, because this can be affected by stores closing down, but actually the people are actually still working. It's not really a full-blown recessionary period. So they call it a technical recession. So right now I want to point to you another indicator to say that we are actually in a potential recession phase. I'm not fear-mongering or anything. This is just based on statistical approach of things. So if you look into if you look into this 2-year and also 10-year bond yield spread, it is actually below the zero level. And normally during this zero level, it is considered as people are fearful of this recessionary period, and therefore they are buying into more towards the longer term yield, longer term bond, and therefore the yield has actually dropped to below the near term, short term yield of 2-year. So overall, what this means is that potentially, based on a statistical approach, we are looking into the yield spread being below zero, and there is a chance whereby in the next 6 to 24 months, we might enter a recession period. And recently the Federal Reserve has actually mentioned that, yes, we might be entering that as well. So, we're trying to be very rational about this. We are not, putting any, sense or any negative catalyst out there to say that, hey, investment community, we think that market is going to crash anytime soon. So we are not doing that, but we are giving you an approach to safeguard your investment journey. We are trying to give you the more information for you to decide whether you want to take profit or cut loss or whatever it is to protect yourself from whatever risk that we think that there is right now. So during this period of time, after all these banking crises, after all these events, and after Federal Reserve meetings, we have understand that the gold prices has actually went up so much higher, near towards the all-time high of near towards 2075 US dollar level. And this is we have not seen this many months. Since 2020, it has hit that level. 2021, it has hit that level, and right now again we are retesting that 2075 level. Okay, so basically, what people are thinking right now, yes, there might be some sort of risk out there, and therefore people view this as a safe haven asset. Therefore, they are putting their money into this gold price. So overall, we can take everything out of the stock market or the trading instrument and try to see what is the direction of the stock market. So basically, if gold prices is heading towards the all-time high zone, which means that people are having some cautious sentiment out there. Therefore, they are maybe taking out their money and buying into this gold, and therefore gold is actually surging. And gold is always being viewed as the safe haven asset, and therefore this is the type of sentiment out there. I'm not trying to say that recessionary fear and things like that, but again, the all-time high, the gold prices trading at all-time high region does give us some indication that people are slightly fearful, and therefore they are putting their money into some safe haven asset right now. Okay, so what about the economies? How do they think about the US economy right now? So based on Bloomberg consensus, this is taken from Bloomberg, and if you notice all this while throughout this period of time, 2016 until 2022, basically you can see that it has been always above at least 1.7% growth year on year. And during this 2020 is just one-off event that it has went into a negative territory of negative 2.8%. But if you look into consensus, overall, 2023, 2024, and 2025, it is about 1% to 2% only. So what does it tell you? That after all this banking crisis, maybe the economies are reworking their economic model to say that there is a risk there. It might not generate as good as previous years of above 2% growth rate in terms of their GDP, but they are actually looking into slightly softer growth, okay, in terms of 2023 or even 2024. And if you notice this Bloomberg screenshot here, we have also this probability of recession. So, I mean, during good times, we wouldn't see, a recessionary period, recessionary probability going up over 50%. But suddenly, after the recent banking crisis, this probability of recession has went up towards 65%. And if you take note of this Bloomberg consensus here, it is very, it shows you that the economies out there is having some cautious tone about the overall view of the potential economic activities in the US might fall into the territory of, negative territory of the of things. And therefore, if you look into all this while in 2020 years, we have entered that, and people start to believe that we are entering the recessionary period during the month of May and also before May, April and also May. So it shot up to 100%. Then later stage, it came back down until recently it has started to, since June last year, it has actually went up slowly, gradually towards 65% right now. So overall, I would say that the fear out there is there. The economists are, predicting that perhaps US may go into this recession period, and Federal Reserve also crafted that Federal Reserve meeting minutes to say that perhaps this banking crisis in the US has actually some impact towards the economy, and therefore overall you can see that throughout these past few months also a lot of people are laying off their employees, and therefore that is also a sign of the slowdown of economy activities. Okay, so overall, I would say that I'm giving you some ideas about what's going to happen. But throughout this period, I'm also putting in some ideas such as gold prices heading towards all-time high, and what sort of investment ideas can you actually think of out of this? Maybe you can actually type into the chat. Let me know what do you think about these gold prices and what else can we actually invest in. But for now, I will just give you an example because if gold prices is heading higher, I think most of you can relate. In Malaysia, we have Pokong, we have Tome, and we have some of the YXPM, and we have some of this JAG. Yeah, so all these counters are related to gold. But after 5 p.m., what can you do when you don't have a Malaysian market, right? So perhaps you can actually go into US market to check whether there are some good opportunities. Either you can go into some mining companies, gold mining companies, or you can go into ETF. You can trade ETF as well. So ETF, you can actually look into GLD. This is a gold ETF that perhaps you can actually look into the ETF. What are the trends like? Is it same? Is it having high correlation with the gold prices? Don't take my words for it, because you can always check through our M Plus Global app. I'm just giving you an idea that since that the gold prices is already heading towards all-time high, once it is reaching the all-time high, I think that will also be a very good sign whereby a lot of demand is going in, and the gold prices or the gold ETF, GLD ETF, will go up as well. So I think I'm giving a scenario to say that people are putting money there. People are willing to pay higher and higher price for gold or gold prices. Perhaps there could be some opportunities to be made or trading opportunities to trade within that segment. So one of the ideas is that. So early on we talked about CPI numbers, the Federal Reserve. Then we talk about recessionary period, what sort of investment you should be looking at. So these are some of the ideas here. And if you're using events-driven trade, you can always look into TQQQ or even SQQQ. So these are basically if you are bullish in terms of the tech counters, because QQQ is actually the ETF for NASDAQ and technology stocks. So basically, if you are thinking that the CPI numbers will go down further, then the Federal Reserve will take a pause in terms of their interest rate or even a rate cut. That is good for the technology stocks. Then perhaps you can look into this TQQQ, or if you are bearish on the technology stocks, you can look for SQQQ. So overall, that is the idea here, okay? And if you look into some other trading catalysts, because we are looking into the past events just now, and the current event can be also seen as, in oil prices, it is always an ongoing activities that we Malaysians like to look. I don't know whether you agree or not, but I'm pretty sure that I would look into this all day, because in Malaysia we always tied this oil price with our nation, because we are being viewed as a commodity nation country, especially towards the oil price. And some people will use the oil price to trade energy stocks in Malaysia as well. But after 5, what can you do? So perhaps you can look into the US stocks markets as well. So recently in this OPEC Plus, actually I think a lot of people would have noticed this. Since the early days of 2022, last year, February, there was a war between this Ukraine and Russia. And therefore, the oil spiked from the 1890 above 100 towards the highest point near is near towards $140 per barrel mark. And during that period of time, a lot of people say that this oil price can surge even higher towards above 140 towards 300 even. So, but again, all these are the sentiment out there. So the recent part of the days, we have seen the overall oil price being flushed down from 140 back to the recent low of 70. I think perhaps this has been a very wild journey has been. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I hope the sound is better right now. Okay, so again, when we are looking into this very volatile, very very volatile oil price, perhaps that could be also one of the areas that you can actually monitor. When oil price is spiking towards 140, back towards 70, we notice that a lot of energy counters has been retracing. But on the recent note, OPEC Plus had a sudden surprise production cut. So perhaps this has actually given an opportunity for some of the oil and gas counters to flourish again. Why do you think that OPEC Plus wants to do this? I think throughout the past 5 or 10 years period, there are a lot of ups and downs, and especially during the MCO period or the lockdown in the global lockdown period, oil price has been going into near towards 30, 40. So right now is a very good opportune time, for OPEC Plus to come out with this surprise cut, and therefore they can still sell their oil oil supply with a higher price. So why not they do that, right? So of course, I think there are a lot of conspiracy behind it to say that the Middle Eastern countries are actually using this opportunity to actually manipulate or even corner the oil prices. So what I'm saying here is that if there is a spike from the US dollar 70 to the current price of 86, then there is an opportunity for us to see, to look into trading opportunities within these, oil prices or oil-related counters. So I think everyone would know that, throughout this period of time, Warren Buffett has actually bought into, add on their stakes into all these, one of these company. So later on, I think maybe we can actually browse through M Plus Global app to see what information that we can find from this company. Okay, so I think these are all the past events, and today itself is very, very crucial because this today's reporting season, we have a lot of banking earnings that is coming out, especially after this banking crisis. Everyone wants to know what is happening in these banking stocks and whether we can still invest in banking, industry, banking sector. I think today we can actually, if the time allow us to do it, we can actually look into some of the whether earnings are actually up, or is it above the expectation or below the expectation. So I think later on, if the time is allowing us to do that, then we will showcase some of that. So I think I've come to near the end of the session, but just bear with me with a few more slides here. I just want to show you that if you're looking to a visual kind of earnings releases, you can actually follow these earnings whispers. And if you look into before the opening bell of today, what sort of financial services companies or banking sectors are actually coming out with results. So we have JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and also BlackRock, and also PNC Services, Financial Services. So all these companies are actually coming out with results. Also United Health Group, which is the healthcare group, will be coming out with results. So overall, today, Friday night, is a very important night because this is a lot of banking stocks are actually coming out with their results today, and this is also the first, or I think a first few that has been will be coming out with results after the banking crisis. So overall, there could be an opportunity for you to trade some of these stocks, because if the banking crisis has tarnished or so-called damaged the trend of the banking stocks, that could also give us an understanding that most of the banking stocks could be trading at a lower base section, and therefore, if any of these companies are coming in with beating exceptional results, then that could be a good buying opportunity for a gap up and continuation pattern. Okay, so overall, I think that could be giving us some idea here. Okay, overall. And yeah, so this is also captured from earnings whispers, just to give you an understanding what sort of estimates that the analyst is looking at. Will it beat this estimate? So you can actually check it out later to see whether the results is perhaps beating or even underperforming the analyst consensus target price. So yeah, so that sums up everything here. I just want to provide you an insights about what can we relate from Bursa Malaysia? How can we relate some of the trading catalysts that we are always using in our Bursa Malaysia to translate that into trading stock markets in the US. Okay, so just to summarize what I have mentioned, the past numbers, past historical events or indicators can also give us an understanding of what sort of direction going forward that the Federal Reserve is having. So perhaps the CPI data, Federal Reserve interest rate, and all these recessionary prediction methods, such as using the bond yield spread, the 2-year versus the 10-year bond yield spread. If it is at the negative region, it has a chance of the US economy or the economy going into a recession phase within the next 6 to 24 months. This is not what I want to fearmonger right now, but that is just a statistical approach of what has happened in the past 10 to 20 years period. And also we have mentioned about gold prices because during recessionary period, you might ask, hey Louis, what do you think we can buy during recessionary period? I would say that just follow the funds flow, because people are taking out the funds to put into gold. So maybe we can follow them for at least a certain period of time. And so gold could be one of them. Maybe you can look into the recent oil price spike. That could be another area that you want to look at. Then coming back to this final slides, which is the earning releases. This can be also part and parcel of what and how people use these earnings releases to trade the market, because sometimes they beat by 30-40% of above their expectation. Then the stocks will really gap up and run accordingly throughout the day. So this is some insights of how people can relate the Bursa kind of trading style into US, and also some of the catalysts that you can use straight away today itself. Later on 9:30, you can look at the earnings releases. You can just look at some of these companies, whether they are having gap up and also having a very huge trading momentum. So I think this is one of the few ways that we are going to share. We are sharing today. So hopefully that this session is very beneficial to every one of you all, and we can have more insights in the future. And also, don't forget, we have a market outlook on 27th of April. So you can tune again, and I'll be sharing with you more insights on the US stock market. So thank you so much for the time.
The electric vehicle industry is now the talk of the town. Start trading EV stocks now with M+ Global. Driving an EV is no longer an unattainable dream, and in the future, the EV industry will be one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Many EV brands have also started to appear in Malaysia. Brands such as BYD, BMW, and Tesla have all entered the Malaysian market.
Electric vehicles are not just vehicles. They have the ability to shape the lives of all Malaysians. With smart mobile living spaces and autonomous and comfortable driving experiences, this technological revolution will bring immense potential to the Malaysian market.
Driven by policies and growing demand, the EV market has plenty of potential. So how do you, as a Malaysian investor, seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in EV stocks? Let's use the US stock Tesla as an example. First, enter the stock code TSLA or the stock name Tesla. Once you enter the stock details page, you will be able to see the live stock price. You can also view basic stock information such as market capitalization and technical trends. You can customize the time range for the share price movements from 1 day to 5 years, and even from the company's listing date up until now. From this chart, you can see that Tesla's share price has continued to rise from $21.80 to $182 per share over the past 5 years. It has risen more than 7 times during this period, far outperforming the broad market average. There is a wide range of stock analysis tools available to help you make a more comprehensive analysis, such as capital flows, the latest updates, and various fundamental indicators. This includes ROE, earnings performance, net profit margin, assets and liabilities data, and cash flow, and more to help you stay up to date with the latest company news. If you want to trade a stock, click Trade and enter the number of shares. Then click Buy or Sell to place your order. An order has been submitted message will be displayed once the order has been placed. When the order is matched, the transaction is now complete. With M Plus Global, you can trade a variety of EV stocks in the US and Hong Kong stock markets, as well as diversified investment vehicles such as ETFs to help you better allocate your investments. There is also an information section. Click on Top News to stay informed with the latest investment trends at all times. Identifying investment opportunities is just the first step, but choosing a good trading platform is winning half the battle. Open an account with M Plus Global today and take control of all your global investments right at your fingertips.
To see more videos from M Plus Global, subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
M Plus Global, winning the world.
How to buy Hong Kong and US stocks with M Plus Global. First, you have to open an online trading account. It only takes 5 minutes to complete. Make sure to prepare your IC, bank account statement, and relevant documents. Launch the M Plus Global app and enter your email or mobile number to register. Proceed to log in and choose Open Account. Select Market, Account Type, and fill in the required information. Then proceed to face verification and input your signature. Once that is done, your account registration is successful. Now, it is time to deposit funds into your account to start purchasing shares. With M Plus Global, there is no need to exchange your cash deposits for foreign currency, and there is no transaction fees. Click Deposit and choose Online FPX to deposit quickly. It only takes 5 minutes to complete. Once the funds have been confirmed and submitted, the next page will indicate a successful deposit. If the transaction is indicated as under reviewing, kindly provide the additional details required. Once you have made your deposit, it's time to pick the stocks you would like to trade. Click Market and select the Hong Kong or US stock market. You can choose from over 10,000 stocks. Tap Sectors to view the best performing categories. Tap Top Stocks to filter stocks according to their percentage change in price. Tap Most Active to sort by volume and turnover. Found a stock you're interested in? Add it to your favorites immediately. You can also add to your watch list so you can check it anytime. Use the edit function to add or delete your selected stocks. Create How to buy Hong Kong and US stocks with M Plus Global. First, you have to open an online trading account. It only takes 5 minutes to complete. Make sure to prepare
Alright, so we are back again. So thank you everyone who has been keeping up with us so far. I just want to say thank you, Louis, for that wonderful session, just sharing with us a little bit more about the US market, right? So thank you everyone who's here. So right now we are in our Q&A session right now. So for those of you who have any questions about the market in general, what is the sentiment, or if you have some question for Louis here, our head of research, right, feel free to type that into the chat box below, and we will get through some of your questions throughout the session. We may not be able to answer all of it, but we'll try our best to answer most of the questions you might have. Right, so before we continue on with our session, just as a little aside, right, for those of you who have listened to Louis and are very interested in starting to trade in the US market, make sure to actually download our M Plus Global so that you guys can actually have a app that which will allow you to actually trade within the US and Hong Kong markets as well. So if you guys are interested, please make sure to scan the QR code above Louis' head, right? You can sign up and register and download, and you can follow us as we go through some of today's sessions as well, right? So not only that, but we also have two major campaigns that we have going on now. So for those of you who are new investors or who are new in investing, we also have the NASDAQ, right? Currently, if you sign up and register now, deposit any amount and you can get free 90 days NASDAQ level 1 real-time market data. So this is very important because it allows you to keep in pace, right? To be on real time when it comes to price quotes in terms of the US stock market as well.
Yeah, I think that is very important because if you have the real-time live quotes, it's actually good for traders because you can do intraday trading with accurate pricing. That is very important for traders, and we are the first Malaysian broker that provides that to you. Okay.
Right, so make the most of this opportunity. Make sure to register, download the M Plus Global right now. And not only that, we have another campaign, a Jom Invest campaign. So if you deposit 10K right now, you get additional 5 free Grab shares, as well as an additional 1 month of the Nasdaq real-time market data. Right, so for those of you who are new to investment, or those who are seasoned as well, right, make sure to not miss out on this opportunity because a lot of these campaigns actually end 30th of April.
Oh,
right.
nice.
So only about what?
Few more days?
16 more days
Yeah,
left.
exactly.
So make sure to make the most of this opportunity. All right. So as of that, right, now we'll just continue with our Q&A session. So there were quite a number of things that you were talking about during the US, during that session where you were talking about the US market and really how, what are some of the impacts that it has also and how it's gone throughout the week. Some of the things that you were talking about include some of the banking crisis, right? So for many of us, I think one of the news that we heard, right, the major one is things like SVB Bank,
Yes.
right? I'm assuming that this also comes into this banking crisis as well, right? I think for a lot of our viewers who are maybe in Malaysia as well, they might be wondering, is this going to affect us, right? Because US as it is the global currency, right? So how is that going to affect us as Malaysia? Are we going to be majorly affected?
Okay, so a lot of people ask me this question because they are afraid that we have also this kind of situation whereby there could be a bank run in Malaysia. So I can assure you right now, there isn't, we do not do fear mongering, and a lot of this happened in the SVB and also in the banking crisis in the US is because of the asset and liabilities mismatch. So basically, they want to withdraw the money out, and a lot of people want to withdraw the money out, but the banks couldn't give them. So I think that is because also during this period of time, these banks, especially giving out all this, is providing services to the tech or the startup companies. But in Malaysia, we don't have a lot of these startup companies, going into banks to borrow money, and maybe banks here in Malaysia is very, very strict in terms of their lending policy. So perhaps we have that layer being, taken care of. So we don't have a lot of startups, and that is why our banks are very, very safe in that sense. And also, if you look into all these scenarios whereby all these interest rate high or whatever it is, it really doesn't affect us much here. I believe that our banks are safe in terms of that, and we don't have all these banks run at this current moment, and I believe we are very, very safe in that sense. Yeah.
I see. So compared to some of the US banks, we are a bit more protected in a sense, like you mentioned, a bit more layered in terms of our approach when it comes to lending to what kind of clientele we are actually taking in.
Yeah, and especially if you look into I'm not promoting any Malaysian stocks, but I think a lot of people will know that Public Bank and also Hong Leong Bank, those are the banks that people will go to invest, or maybe main banks, things like that. So they are the big ones, and normally they will do that. But in the US, I think also we can actually look into their size, and also we can look into their earnings. And recently, they just announced some of the results came out, right? So if you look into the JP Morgan, they actually beat the estimates and actually show some growth.
I see.
And also in terms of just now someone commented about Wells Fargo as well. They actually beat the expectations, and also having some growth of more than 30 to 40%. So I think if you ask me what kind of good investment that we can actually, because I saw someone was asking, in banking, Warren Buffett was saying that, that there could be a banking crisis continuation.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I think about that is that if we are looking into the structure of the bank, it's very important who they lend it to, and so if they have earnings into it, that is what I can sort of be well protected in a way. Yes. So what I always look at is always the earnings. Okay. So I think basically that would dictate the share price going forward. So this might be an opportunity, when the share price has came down because of the banking crisis, but they have managed to make a very strong growth. And therefore, that could be an entry for us to look into banking stocks. Yeah.
Okay. So really, as you mentioned, earnings.
Yes.
Right. That's one very essential part. And another thing that you also mentioned about the banks is the fundamentals that are part of it. What they're actually lending, who they're lending out money to.
Yes,
So
yes.
in terms of for those of you who are maybe looking to actually go into US banking to invest into that industry and that sector, what are some of the fundamentals of a good bank that would help our viewers out there to invest in a good US bank?
So I think just now I mentioned, as long as they have earnings, and also you have to understand that some of these banking companies are having commercial banks and also investment banks. So they do different things. So sometimes, like during bull market time,
Yes.
like during 2020 and 2021, actually the banks earns a lot from trading. Yeah, I mean the when people trade.
This is the investment side.
Yeah, investment side of things. So stockbroking side of things will actually make a lot for them. But during like slow times, maybe like market is like quiet, or they can actually enjoy the commercial banks kind of profit. So I think they are well protected in volatile times, and also in very conservative neutral times. They are also well protected. So as long as they have earnings, and I think that it shows that the strong fundamental of the companies that we can actually invest in. So actually, if you look into this, hold on a second, let me maybe can use the M Plus Global app to show you. So for instance, JP Morgan, okay, JP Morgan, yeah. So for this, you can actually look into their stocks, share price, and here we can see whether. Okay. Yeah, just 30 minutes ago, you can see that there is the better than expected Q1 results is out. So this is really interesting because all these are being pushed straight away to the app, and you can actually check the news out straight away. So all these are actually, there's JP Morgan Chase, Bazinga News, and things like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you look at the charts wise, let's see again, JPM. So look at the charts. You can actually look into how do they perform, right? So overall here, weekly, monthly data. Okay, so recently you might look into weekly lah. Okay, weekly. So after the banking crisis, they have collapsed from 143 to the current position near towards 125 low.
Okay.
Then it went up higher towards this. So perhaps right now, if you're looking at the pre-market, maybe it's because of this. They might be having a gap up position. So let's see later, 9:30, but we are, ending at 9.
Yes.
So perhaps, the investors out there, you can actually look into the M Plus Global app and see what is the price that they are trading right now. Later on. Okay. So all this is very, very useful information. You can see that 27 analyst ratings call a buy. I mean, 70% of the analysts are calling a buy.
So even in this app itself, it gives what are the consensus that most analysts are sharing for lah.
Yes,
so
correct.
In this sense, they are recommending to buy lah.
Correct. So you can use this as a reference for you to generate your buy and sell calls. And also there is also price target here, target price of 151, and they expect about 17% return from the current position of 128. So the current position is trading at, wait, let me see, is it 128 pre-market? Or maybe I can add this into the watch list first, yeah? So maybe I add this, to buy. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's pre-market trading at plus 135.9. So
so I can actually look at pre-market prices over here as well in the watch list.
correct. Yeah. So this is one of the ways that people gauge what is the sentiment out there based on the pre-market. Because of the earnings, people are already trading at 5% higher. So what if later it opens, maybe it can trade even higher towards the price target. So I'm just giving an example. to see that this JP Morgan Chase, after the earnings, the earnings has been reported right now, released right now, then the pre-market is showing this, and you can use this to your advantage to trade the stock market.
I see.
Okay.
So just to sort of cap all this, like you mentioned, like one very good indicator or fundamental of a good bank to go to invest in is really its earning portfolio, lah. Like what are the results that it comes actually from day to day, and if there are any news about its. And now recently we mentioned also Q1 earnings are coming out as well, right? So it gives a very good indication about the potential for these companies as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're just taking a look. So thank you for giving just a good rundown about the banking industry in the US at the moment, right? So let's see if there are any other questions out there, right? So right, we have a question here asking about the stocks in the US. So Elkie Kong, right? You're mentioning how should I choose the sector and which stocks to trade. I think just to expand a little bit more, because for us who are new maybe to the US market, there are so many sectors to choose from, right? So what are some of the advice you might present for someone who is maybe a bit overwhelmed, like I don't know which to choose. So, but I want to make, of course, I want to make money, right? At the end of the day, I don't want to invest and go on the losing streak, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
What are some fundamentals, I think, for them in which sector they should choose and how should they choose the sectors?
Okay, so I think if you ask me about sectors, just now I mentioned a few. One is gold. Because when people are fearful about the market or economic, activities are slowing down into recession, potential recession, also they might, go into this gold because it is considered as safe haven asset, and it shows that the gold prices is going up. It shows that people are putting money in.
Yes.
Because when people are willing to buy higher and higher, which means that there are more demand.
Yes.
And certainly gold is one of the sectors. And if you want to be more relatable, like what I mentioned just now, if you are already trading Bursa, Malaysia's oil and gas companies, you can also use that as a guideline, because once the crude oil price fluctuates at least at this juncture is on the upward side, and therefore we can use that to formulate something to be traded on the US stock markets. So in that sense, I have already two sectors. Basically, based on the recession theme, I can already look into the gold prices. And secondly, based on the oil spike, I can already look into the oil and gas sector. So these are some of the relatable, linkable kind of instrument that you can use. Then thirdly, if we look into just now we have mentioned CPI and also Federal Reserve. And Federal Reserve will dictate the interest rate up or down cycle. So during the up cycle, people are fearful of growth stocks. Okay? What I mean here is that when interest rate goes up, it is bad for the tech companies. So that is a general view. Very general view. So if you look into just now what I've mentioned, it might be at a tipping point of the interest rate up cycle. Means that if the Federal Reserve will not continue to increase the interest rate, then therefore the technology stocks might be on a good upward move. So which means that people are speculating that the Federal Reserve will not increase anymore, maybe take a pause or even a rate cut. Then that would benefit the tech counters. So based on these kind of relatable kind of events, actually we can actually formulate already three: gold, the oil and gas, and also tech. So it's actually very easy, to look into sectors. So for stock picks, if you don't have any stocks in mind, just pick ETF, because ETF will go in terms of it is a basket of stocks. So
so it's not just one stock.
Correct.
You diversify sort of your risk.
Yes. And also ETF, you need not to pick A counter, B counter, or C counter. So it gives you a very good opportunity whereby if there are 10 counters out there, you don't have to pinpoint which one to choose from, but exactly the ETF is already diversified. Any of this goes up, your ETF will go up. So it's in a way a very lazy method to do it, but in a way it's a diversified way to do it. So I would say that if you don't have stocks specific to trade on, try not to be stock picking, because sometimes stock picking also, you choose A, but B went up.
Yes.
You choose B, C went up. Oh, yeah. You say,
So you should have.
Yeah,
like,
you should have.
maybe, you're thinking, oh, I should have like picked that stock instead of that one, right?
correct. So what I mean here is that if you are really not, not towards the extent of stock picking, you are not really very good at it. I think ETF is very liquid in the US stock market. Unlike in Malaysia, the ETF in US stock market is very, very vibrant and also dynamic. So that is why ETF is a lot of people who trade that. So if you look into gold, just now we have mentioned GLD.
Yes.
Okay, or you can choose some mining shares. Okay, but I wouldn't say that stock picking. Stock picking will need a very good fundamental analysis and also technical analysis. But ETF, I believe you can use that as a basket of stock, diversify out. At least you gain some momentum on it. So if you're using the, like for instance, let's see, maybe we can go into gold, GLD. Yeah, GLD, US SPDR gold. Okay, maybe you can show on the, yeah. So you can see that it has been on the way up, right? From this 168 to the current position is near towards 190. Oh, that is a very handsome gain if you have, bought into this.
Yes.
But again, it is quite similar to the just now what I've shown you, the gold prices. It is near towards the all-time high of 194. So if you believe that the gold prices can surge even higher from this point, then this could be a very good opportunity to tap along with the gold prices.
So it's a good market opportunity for someone who is looking to gold.
Yes, correct. So another point to that is just now we have mentioned gold. We could have also traded oil and gas sector.
Gas.
So oil and gas sector, maybe you don't have, maybe you want to follow Warren Buffett. Yes, you can. So you can try to find Oxy, Occidental Petroleum Corporation. So you can look into this. Then you can look into what is their price movement like. This is the price chart. You can put in all these EMAs as well, but I would just use this, we call it the naked chart. So nothing is in it, but it's just a candlestick. Okay, so right now the price is about 64. And the highest point recently was about 76. So if you believe in this oil and gas counter, or you believe in Warren Buffett, you want to follow him, then perhaps you can, you can buy some of this. But if you don't have any ideas about what to buy, you can buy a basket. It's called the XLE.
XLE. So what is this exactly?
Yeah, US SPDR Select Fund Energy Select Sector. Okay, so I go in again. I press wrongly. Hold on a second. LE. Okay, so it's energy select sector.
So what are the constituents in this? I'm assuming this is an ETF, right?
Yep. So constituents is inside here. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah. So you can actually, maybe I'm going too fast, but just now I was here at the chart. You click profile, and you saw this constituents here. You can this overview. This is constituent. So you just scroll down to see this here. Okay, top constituent. Exxon Mobil, Chevron, Schlumberger,
So these are mostly oil and gas companies inside this ETF?
Yes. So all these are related to energy, and energy most likely is the oil and gas counters are in here. So maybe they could have some, renewable energy, but the top 10 constituents is here. Okay, so we can actually check them out. Most likely they are in the oil refiners or oil producers and things like that. Okay. Right. So just now we have talked about gold. Yep. We have talked about oil and gas. Right. And perhaps if you want to, just now we have mentioned using Federal Reserve kind of movements like the interest rate upcycle or down cycle, you can also formulate something towards the tech counters. Okay, because just now I mentioned when interest rate hike, then it may contribute to, interest rate upcycle, it may contribute to less attractive in terms of technology counters. So during that time, interest rate upcycle, you may want to short the technology stocks. So you can go into short QQQ, SQQQ. Or if you think that right now it's already at a pause and also might have a rate cut down the road for Federal Reserve interest rate movements, then you might want to buy the TQQQ, which is the long QQQ. So, but again, please go in depth to understand what is TQQQ and also SQQQ, because those are leverage, which means that 1% up down on QQQ, it might translate to 3 times. Okay, so that is the idea about leverage. So if you buy 1% gain, you are maybe gaining 3% gain. So that is the idea here. Okay.
So just to cap up. So essentially, for those who are looking for what kind of sectors to go into, or maybe what kind of stock to pick, especially I think if you are new, right, stock picking may not be the best strategy for new investors. So something like an ETF where it's more focused around currently gold or maybe oil and gas would be more preferable as compared to maybe stock picking. It allows them to also diversify their portfolio as well, and not to really like worry about so much about what the individual stock is doing, right?
Correct.
But more movements of the market in general, right?
Correct. So that is the diversification effect of the ETF. I think I like that because we need not to do stock picking, because sometimes you do stock picking, you will be very picky, and sometimes when you pick A, then A didn't move but B moved. So that is the reason why people would choose ETF over stocks. Yeah.
All right. So going back to what you mentioned about gold as being a safe haven, currently we are on this topic of a recession as well, potential recession as well. Right, we're not fear mongering here, we just potential recession. Right. So are there any other safe haven assets like you mentioned that are similar to gold? Because you mentioned to follow the fund, right? So what are some other safe haven assets that people might be also investing in some time like this?
Okay, I wouldn't want to go in depth into some of this. How do I put this? Because a lot of people are also not looking just at gold. They are looking also at Bitcoin. But I'm not trying to say that we are promoting Bitcoin or whatever it is. Yeah, but again, if you look into Bitcoin versus the US dollar, it's very interesting. After the Federal Reserve has been actually coming down to say that they might have a pause or they might not be so hawkish. Actually, the Bitcoin went up in tandem with the gold prices, so coincidentally. But in that sense, people are also viewing Bitcoin as a safe haven.
Oh, really?
Some sort of...
because from what I understand, Bitcoin is, for most people, a very volatile sort of stock at the moment.
Yeah. So a lot of these traders out there are saying that maybe there could be a gold replacement, because they are putting Bitcoin as a finite cryptocurrency, and therefore gold is also a finite kind of things. So there is only that much gold in the world, right? So they are actually putting this together. Although, it is more volatile than gold, maybe at some point of time. But again, people can also view that as a safe haven as well to a certain bunch of people, because in real time, in real life, if we look into the charts of the gold price and also the Bitcoin price, it's actually quite in tandem. During this recent crisis that we have noticed, and also the recession, potential recession risk that is out there, actually the Bitcoin has actually went up above 30K. So it's not near towards all-time high, but it is quite in tandem in the recent run.
I see.
Other than that, people would also say US dollar is safe haven, Japanese yen is safe haven. But I think when gold prices is up, when US dollar, they are actually inverse in correlation. So which means that gold prices go up, which means that the dollar actually is going down. So a lot of people say that these three main ideas, US dollar, the Japanese yen, and also gold are safe haven. But I want to mention the Bitcoin because the recent, after 2020, a lot of people view that as their safe haven. So there are some safe haven characteristic in there as well.
I see.
So I'm not trying to promote that, but if you look into this app here, if you look into Bitcoin maybe or cryptocurrency, you can see that there are some ETF strategy on this Bitcoin as well. So overall, if you are interested to know more, you can actually look into all these ETF to say that, hey, if Bitcoin is actually in tandem with gold and going up, you can look at their underlying performance. Then you can actually look into these kind of ETFs to position some portion. You can allocate some portion into your portfolio in that sense.
Okay.
So again, I'm not trying to promote Bitcoin, but if you take note of all this price movement and you wonder whether there is an opportunity within Bitcoin, maybe you can actually search in our app, M Plus Global app. We have this Bitcoin, US Pro Shares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, short Bitcoin Strategy ETF. So we have long and short position as well on the ETF. So again, these are some of the opportunities out there. If you are looking into gold, if you are looking into Bitcoin, if you are looking into other many other things, our search function is very, very useful. Just type in whatever keyword you want. You can look for quotes, you can look for news, and you can look for help or whatever it is. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
So very M Plus Global itself, very easy to find a lot of these news.
Exactly.
To educate yourself, not just like news for news sake, but education as well, to learn more about what's happening in the market as well.
Correct.
All right. So we do have a few more questions, right? So one of the questions that EV recently emerged as a new trend recently. Any good market outlook in renewable energy, or will renewable energy become the next hot booming trend, right? So what's your take on this, Loui?
I think this year's EV trend is definitely taking off,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. But one thing we have to understand is that they are taking off at the expense of their price they're selling.
Okay, right.
Why do I say so is because before this, a lot of EV players are actually very gung-ho about it. They want to produce as many as they want. They want to sell.
Tesla,
BYD,
BYD,
all these China players or even the
US
US players.
players.
But recently, there are a lot of all these players are actually having a price cut. So they are having price war. So if you ask me, EV is definitely selling like hotcakes. Okay, in Malaysia we also can see Tesla. You know,
Right.
all these
Recent news also, Tesla might potentially be coming into Malaysia as well.
Yes, exactly. So even all these are coming to Malaysia, which means that it is definitely selling at hotcakes. And also we can see Kia also have their electric vehicle as well, and their selling price is at very, very high, 300K and above. Oh, so that is very, very interesting. Even people are willing to pay for a Kia EV at that price point. So what I want to say here is that definitely EV is actually taking off. But at the same time, we are also noticing that all these EVs are actually slashing their price to sell off their cars. So it means that they want to capture market share. So they sell out.
So there's a huge price war right now, trying to get into the market, trying to get majority of the stakeholders at the moment, right?
Correct. So overall, I would say that yes, EV is taking off, is on a booming trend. But if they are selling at a lower price compared to last few quarters, then it might dampen their earnings going forward.
That's true.
So what I want to mention here is that the EV team may take off, but at the expense of their earnings. So that is why if we notice what they're doing right now is definitely slashing the price, unless they can cover back their whatever cost that they're involved in, and make sure that earnings are still growing, then perhaps the share price can move. So if you look into Tesla share price right now, they are actually
Yes, we actually noticed that it's been on the red actually.
Yeah. So maybe you can actually do some. Okay. So. Throughout this period of time, actually, there are several rounds of price decrease, and therefore they are also, their price is actually falling quite badly since 414 towards the low of 101. But again, you can also argue, say that Louis, from 102 it went up towards 180, even towards 200, or it's a 100% return. So what I want to say here is that throughout this price war, their share price has been down. But again, when this is being tagged, sort of like tech companies, during this 101 period, it's actually when the Federal Reserve starts to turn less hawkish, and therefore it take off from 101 to 200 US dollar. So right now, this is a point where we need to really look into their earnings already. And when the earnings maybe can outperform or underperform, that will dictate the share price from this point onwards. That is my view, because whatever they need to produce, they are already producing at the fastest pace already. So therefore, if the more they produce and they can sell more, that is the economy of scale. But again, if they are slashing price to capture market share, maybe their earnings may not be up to the analyst expectation. So EV trend is there, but if the earnings is coming in at a lower rate or negative growth, therefore I think the share price might be just hovering around this level going forward.
essentially what you're saying is that yes, it is the EV industry is booming, right? People are trying to capture the market, the companies are trying to capture market, but potentially at the expense of their earnings,
Correct.
essentially.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So right now it depends on who can manage their operational costs or their building material costs, like battery and things like that. All these materials, if they can get economy of scale, can get lower price in terms of their operating costs,
Yeah.
and that may help them in their earnings because revenue minus off cost equals to the earnings.
Right.
So if lower cost means higher earnings.
So if they can lower their costs,
Yeah.
potentially the cut in earnings as well may not be actually
A bad thing, yeah.
May not be a bad thing.
Yeah, so right now it's manufacturers versus manufacturers who are getting more growth from these earnings. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So hopefully we have answered some of your questions regarding EV. So right now, I think we maybe have time for maybe a few more questions.
Okay.
Right. So coming back to what you mentioned about the, I think we can cap off your session maybe with talks about the recession, right? Potential recession,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So you mentioned that last year during MCO we were in what we call considered a technical recession.
Yep.
So what is the major difference between a technical and an actual recession? What are some of the signs to look out for?
Okay, so the recession term in the US, it is determined by a board. So there is a board to say that, oh, right now, is it a recession or is it a technical recession or whatever it is. But a recession to me is a very simple definition. As long as you are in 2 quarterly of negative growth, which means that you are contracting for 2 quarters consecutively,
Yep.
I will consider it as recession already. No matter what you call it, a technical or a genuine or technical recession. Okay, but the real thing is that during that period of time, lockdown, everything, it is actually sort of a business side. The front end business are actually stopped. Actually, a lot of things are still working. It's like there is not much of layoff at
So
that point of time.
it wasn't that people were unable to work. It was just that because of the restrictions and stuff, they weren't able to go out and perform their normal business activities, but they were still performing at the back end.
Correct. So if you put it into layman terms, during the recession in Malaysia, a long time ago, a lot of people cannot find jobs. I think jobs are the very main indicator. So which means that if you are MCO but you still have work, it's not laying off.
That's true.
That is so-called technical recession. But to me, it is recession. Why? Is because when there are 2 consecutive of contraction in terms of the economic activities, therefore the stock market will reflect to that. So it's important to understand if the contraction is there, definitely the stock market will react first. So during 2020, if you recall, the share price or the indices has actually fallen quite a bit.
Okay.
Until, like, let's say FBM KLC have fallen towards 2003 before recovering to 2004 right now. So again, why is it important? Is because when recession happens, stock market wouldn't care, is it technical
Right.
or not technical?
It will still react the
It
same
will
way.
still react the same way. So to me, it's important. Although economists might say that, this is technical and the board hasn't certified it is a genuine recession yet. So what I want to say is that we as a trader, we as an investor, we have to be very sensitive to all this.
Yes.
If recession means recession, and stock market will react to it, and therefore we need to know the time again to time whether is it continuation of the contraction period or whether is it whether the stock market will rebound from here onwards.
Right.
So we have to understand that if recession means the stock market will reflect first, but later stage when it recovers, stock markets will also recover. So it is important for traders and investors to determine their maybe their position sizing or maybe their portfolio allocation, how much in cash, how much in stocks. That is very important.
Okay.
Yep.
So, like you mentioned, one of the major indicators, right, is jobs loss, right? I think we can see quite a number of the tech companies laying off quite a number of individuals. I think recently on our home ground also, Shopee also has been laying off quite a number, even in the local Asian region. So, as investors, like you mentioned, what are some of the ways for us to safeguard really ourselves for the potential recession in the future, and how can we come out of it, survive, right? Come out of it, right?
So I would always say that funds is the only way to go to identify whether they are bullish or bearish in terms of the stocks. So if you ask me, I would always use technical indicators such as moving average to identify whether the stocks is uptrend or downtrend. Why is people willing to pay a premium to a certain company and continue to chase higher on that company? So if the funds is above the so-called SMA 50, SMA 200, then I would assume that the company is a good, healthy company. But if the company is already falling off in terms of below the SMA 50 simple moving average of 50 or even 200, then that is where we have to take a view to say that this company funds are actually selling off. We have to safeguard ourselves. Then we might want to take profit or cut loss in that sense. So I would always view that technical indicators or the price and volume that is transacting is actually telling us some story. So we must always always respect this price and volume to say that, hey, these funds is going in, they are breaking new highs and therefore we need to follow, or they are breaking new lows that we need to sell off. So I think to safeguard, one thing is that we cannot predict whether the recession is there or not. But again, we can use the fund flow to determine whether are there people buying into it. If yes, then why are they buying? Are they buying on earnings? Are they buying on story? Are they buying on some catalysts out there that we are unknown? So I think all these will come back to indicators. So technical indicators on our side, you can actually look into. Wait, let me check. Okay, never mind. Where is the indicator? Never mind. Yeah, here. Moving average. Then you can put in, see whether. See. Okay, there are several moving average you can actually adjust in order to identify whatever you want. Say you want 200. Okay.
200 meaning 200 days?
Yeah, 200 days.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay. 200 means whichever time frame you're looking at. If 200, you are looking at weekly chart, means 200 weeks.
Okay.
So if you're looking at 200 bars of 15 minutes, also can. So it will determine that.
So this is just giving you the period in terms of what your moving average actually calculates. So like you mentioned, 200 weeks, if it's daily 200 days.
Yes. So this you can see that MA 200 is a purple line. Then it's the 200 bars of daily candlestick. If weekly means this is 200 weekly bars.
So I can see different, depending on my settings, I can see different moving averages. I'm assuming this is like for MA that's 200, then
and
we've
50,
got 50
and 20.
Okay.
So this will give you an idea where you need to safeguard your profits. If it is, maybe for instance, if this Tesla is already falling below this level here, then you can actually safeguard yourself after falling below the MA 50, then you can take your profits. Or right now it has come up above the SMA 200, near towards 180, then maybe you want to enter because it is at a support. So this is some of the ways you identify using these technical indicators. I think a lot of fund managers will look at SMA 200 or SMA 50. These are the two main ones for fund managers to look at. But right now there are a lot of other things like quants. There are quantitative analysis. There are a lot of high frequency trading. They are looking at a lot of other different things. So in US, it is very, very vibrant. So in trading, so the investors' profile also very, very different. So it's very dynamic.
So it really depends on the kind of investor you are, whether maybe you got higher risk appetite or maybe like lower, or even the style and strategy that you're using. But like you mentioned, the fundamentals, the basics of trying to look at how well a stock is doing in the market, or even like you mentioned, its story. What is, I think the one thing that I caught from your explanation is be sure to ask why. Why is it moving this way? Why are people buying into it? Really have the technical aspect to be able to read the information as well. Right? Okay, all right. So firstly, I just want to say thank you very much for coming here today, for sharing your market insights with us, and also just sharing with the audience out there some of your expertise and sharing some of your knowledge with us to help some of you to really also get better, right? And also to know the secrets from our Sifu here, right, about the US market as well, right?
Yep. Thank you, Aaron, for moderating this session. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. So right now we'll go on a little break, right? It will after this we'll be coming into our last session of tonight, right? Last part of our session for tonight. We'll be doing a few recaps and wrap-ups as well as a tiny mini game. So for those of you who have been following us, we are giving out 20 ringgit trading vouchers, right? So after this short break for about 2 or 4 minutes, right? We'll come back, we'll just recap and end the night here. So thank you so much, Louis.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right. Hope you have a great and wonderful weekend as well.
Same to you.
All right.
The electric vehicle industry is now the talk of the town. Start trading EV stocks now with M Plus Global. Driving an EV is no longer an unattainable dream, and in the future, the EV industry will be one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Many EV brands have also started to appear in Malaysia. Brands such as BYD, BMW, and Tesla have all entered the Malaysian market.
Electric vehicles are not just vehicles. They have the ability to shape the lives of all Malaysians. With smart mobile living spaces and autonomous and comfortable driving experiences, this technological revolution will bring immense potential to the Malaysian market.
Driven by policies and growing demand, the EV market has plenty of potential. So how do you, as a Malaysian investor, seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in EV stocks? Let's use the US stock Tesla as an example. First, enter the stock code TSLA or the stock name Tesla. Once you enter the stock details page, you will be able to see the live stock price. You can also view basic stock information such as market capitalization and technical trends. You can customize the time range for the share price movements from 1 day to 5 years, and even from the company's listing date up until now. From this chart, you can see that Tesla's share price has continued to rise from $21.80 to $182 per share over the past 5 years. It has risen more than 7 times during this period, far outperforming the broad market average. There is a wide range of stock analysis tools available to help you make a more comprehensive analysis, such as capital flows, the latest updates, and various fundamental indicators. This includes ROE, earnings performance, net profit margin, assets and liabilities data, and cash flow, and more to help you stay up to date with the latest company news. If you want to trade a stock, click Trade and enter the number of shares. Then click Buy or Sell to place your order. An order has been submitted message will be displayed once the order has been placed. When the order is matched, the transaction is now complete. With M Plus Global, you can trade a variety of EV stocks in the US and Hong Kong stock markets, as well as diversified investment vehicles such as ETFs to help you better allocate your investments. There is also an information section. Click on Top News to stay informed with the latest investment trends at all times. Identifying investment opportunities is just the first step, but choosing a good trading platform is winning half the battle. Open an account with M Plus Global today and take control of all your global investments right at your fingertips.
To see more videos from M Plus Global, subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
M Plus Global, winning the world.
All right, welcome back to our session for tonight. Right, so thank you everyone who's who's in this M Plus Global live session. It's really appreciate all of you staying with us till the end. I think it was a very productive session from our head of research, Loui Low. Right. So hopefully throughout this session, some of you have gained some insights into the US market, that you are more confident in actually in investing in the US market itself, right? So hopefully, thank you so much everyone also for sending your questions in, right? To giving us some questions to ponder upon and to really engage with us in that way. So if you do enjoy this content, if you really do like it, please put in the comment, right? What are some of the content you would like to see in the future? What are some people you would like to invite maybe to share with you a little bit more about their expertise, right? So feel free to put that in the comment and the chat box below, right? So before we continue on with the rest of the thing, if in this session you have been inspired, right, to start trading on the US market, right, one of the very first things that you can do really is to sign up and register for our M Plus Global app, right? Right now with our M Plus Global app, you have access to the US as well as the Hong Kong market. So really do take this opportunity to really make the most of whatever you have learned today to really and start trading within the US market. So for those of you who are wondering where you can find this app, don't worry, this QR code up here, right? Just download, register, and sign up for the M Plus Global app. Not only that, but for new signups, right? For this, for the next 16 days, right? Within this period itself, you guys will have access to very good deals. Why? Because we also have for whoever deposits, right, within the next 16 days, any amount, you will be able to get 90 days free NASDAQ real-time market data. As Loui has mentioned, right, this is very important for traders because it allows you to be up to date with the latest price quotes, and also in volatile markets, or even in depending on the kind of stocks that you're going into, having real-time market data is really important and essential, right, for you as an investor to keep track of the market. And not only that, but if you deposit 10,000 ringgit into your M Plus Global account itself, you will be able to get 5 free Grab shares. And not only that, but you get an additional 1 month of the NASDAQ real-time market data. So all in all, 4 months worth of this NASDAQ market data, real-time market data, and for you as an investor as well, this is really going to give you an edge above the market as well as maybe your peers, right? So do not miss out on this opportunity. Really make the most out of it, right? So we are coming into our final bit of tonight, right? So for those of you who are wondering, hey, can I win 20 ringgit trading vouchers? What that everyone has been winning the last few days. Don't worry, we have that for you as well, right? So we are gonna go into our mini game right now. Right, so before we start our mini game, let me just give you a bit of a rundown, right, on how you can win these 20 ringgit trading vouchers. So for whoever answers the question correctly, and the first one to answer, you guys will be actually able to get this 20 ringgit trading voucher. This 20 ringgit trading voucher allows you to actually utilize it in your trading. It gives you essentially free cash, right, for you to be able to start investing. So that is about it. So be the first as well as the fastest, right, and the most correct answer, and you stand a chance to win this 20 ringgit trading voucher. So let's go into our mini game right now. Let's bring up the first question. Okay, right. So question number 1 of tonight, right? Which of the following financial instruments has a risk diversification feature, right? So for those of you who've been exploring right now, this might be a very easy question for you, but are they on stocks? Are they in ETFs? Or are they in warrants, right? So let's take a look at the comments, right? Okay, right. So I see many of you answering tonight. Thank you so much, right, for your answers. Thank you for engaging with me, right? So for those of you who are wondering who is the winner of this session tonight, don't worry, we'll announce it at the very end of this mini game session as well, right? So yes, a lot of you answered ETFs. Yes, you are correct, right? Which of the following financial instruments has a risk diversification feature? So glad to know that many of you are up to date, are knowledgeable, right, about the products and instruments that we have. Right now, let's go on to the next question, right? So right now, second question, name 2 oil and gas companies available in the US stock market, right? So for those of you who have our M Plus Global app, this must be very easy, right? We've been talking about it the whole night as well, right? So this should be very easy to find. Feel free to type your answers into the chat box below, right? Like I mentioned, first come, first serve, right? So the fastest to name the 2 oil and gas companies in the chat box right now will get a 20 ringgit trading voucher, right? Okay, right. So we have someone, ExxonMobil. We also have Chevron, right? Feel free to keep your answers coming. Right, who else? Who else? So we have some others saying Oxy as well. We got another person typing Chevron, right? We have a Northern Oil and Gas Company also, right? These are all correct. So thank you so much for your answers. Right, let's move on to the next question. Thank you so much for answering. Right, so third question. What is the difference between stocks and ETF? Right, you can give me 1 point, right? What is the main difference between a stock and an ETF? Right, so feel free to keep your answers coming. No worries, we were talking a lot about the stocks versus ETFs in our session just now. So feel free to put your answers. So there may be different answers for this. We will just pick out the person who gives us the most correct answer, right? Okay, right. We see I see somebody answering also, right? Oh, this one mentioned Chevron and Oxy. That is the previous question, right? Right now we are on to this question. So, right, somebody mentioned a basket of stocks. Stock is a single investment ETF. Stock is single investment. ETF is multi-choice. Some are mentioning, it is a single counter versus a basket of counters, right? Okay, right. All these are very good answers, and these are essentially the major difference between the stock and the ETF as well. Like you mentioned, stock is stock picking or stock single companies, but ETFs as a whole, right, is multi-choice. There is a basket of stocks inside the ETFs itself that helps the investors like you also diversify your risk throughout the entire purchase. Right, and not only that, but our final question, is it our final question of tonight? So our final question of tonight, right, we have name 2 US banking stocks in the US stock market at the moment. All right, so right now, just any 2 US banking stocks, right? We were talking a lot about banking. What is the current sentiment in the banking industry right now in the US, right? So feel free, type your answers below, right? Share your answers with me. Okay, right. So thank you so much, right, for putting in your answers. I really appreciate all the engagement that you're giving us right now. Right, okay, we see we have Bank of America, we have Wells Fargo, which we have talked a little bit about earlier. We also have Citibank, we have JP Morgan, right? So we have Citigroups, we got Citibank as well, Bank of America, right? All these are very good answers. Really, thank you so much for all your answers, right? Thank you so much. So I think that is the last question of our mini game. Right now, in a few minutes, we'll just announce who our winners are, right? But really, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight, for being able to have the last 2 hours, right? To join us for the last 2 hours. Hopefully, this has been a great session for you. Hopefully, this has been a session that you find really engaging, really educational, really something that adds value, right, to you as an investor, or even if you're starting out, right, as a new investor as well. So right now, okay, so just to list the winners right now, So our winners at the moment, we have Loui Low, right? We have Miracle Low, we have Elkie Kong, we have Chia Wan Chow, and we have Julene Wong, right? Thank you so much for engaging with us in our mini game just now. I really hope you enjoy this 20 ringgit trading voucher. But before we continue on with the last bit of our session tonight, right? For those of you, the winners that I announced, we will post a link on the screen up right now. So this is actually for you, the winners, to be able to, so we just need your details. So put in your details inside this Google form, and after that we will contact you and we will provide you the 20 ringgit trading vouchers. And for those of you who are wondering where my trading voucher is, don't worry, it will take about 7 days for it to be actually put into your account. So for those of you who maybe wake up tomorrow and wondering, hey, where is my trading voucher? Don't worry, it's coming to you in about 7 days time. Alright, so just to repeat, those who have actually won, they are Loui Low, Miracle Low, Elkie Kong, Chia Wan Chow, as well as Julene Wong. So make sure to click on the link, the Google form link, add in your details, and we will remit your 20 ringgit trading vouchers to you in about 7 days time. Alright, so thank you very much for joining in the mini game, right? And as we are approaching 9 o'clock, right, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you, right? So for those of you who have found this a very informative session, give us a like, follow us on our social media. We have M Plus Online Facebook, Instagram. We also have a TikTok where you can see more of our head of research, Loui Low, sharing with you his insights as well as some tips and tricks for you as an investor as well on what to look out for. So do follow us on our social media, and for those of you who really want to take a stab at this investment journey, please do download our M Plus Global, right? Very easy. Just scan this QR code there. You'll be able to sign up, register, download your M Plus Global app, and you can begin to start trading right away, right? So for those of you, like we mentioned, right, make the most of this opportunity of the campaigns that we have right now, and I wish you all the best in your investment journey, and I wish you a great weekend ahead. We will see you on Monday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right? So for our next session, for those of you who are maybe who missed out this session, who are waiting for the next one, who want to ask us more questions, right, about M Plus Global or about stock trading in general, right? Stay tuned to our next session coming Monday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. All right, thank you so much. I'm Aaron. I am your M Plus Global Anchor, and it's been my pleasure to host you tonight. Right, have a great weekend. Good night.